Shalom, shalom to my brothers and sisters in the body of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach. And shalom to my brothers and sisters who are Hebrew Israelites and are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Today, I bring you a very interesting word today. As you see in this photo, you're probably wondering, what does this mean? For in this photo, it says, I'm not a full-blooded Jew, I'm Jewish. Take this time now to pause your screen and to meditate on what this photo is saying. Now we'll go to the word. The title of this word today is Israelites and Gentiles. What does becoming a Jew mean in Esther chapter 8, verse 17? So as you was dwelling on that photo, you're probably going to get the understanding where this word may go. However, I always like to bring the word to confirm unto you the most high truth. So for this video, you should have access to the Google document for this lesson. All you have to do is just listen. However, if you want to take notes, go ahead and take notes, but you will have access to this lesson. Okay? As for the announcement, the Most High has his prophets and prophetess speaking today. Please listen to Yahuwah prophetic messages. There are messages for everyone, Israelites and Gentiles. Just recently, he put out a message to the 10 tribes of Israel, known as the house of Ephraim. Please listen to that message. Also, that message will relate to the other videos that were done on this channel, confirming unto you the truth of the Most High. Also, in the video description box and in the pinned comment section, please check for the announcements and for other videos to watch. Another important video to look at is the origins of Roman Christianity. Christianity is a Greek word. This video shall give you understanding why Hebrew Israelites do not call themselves Christians. Okay? The reason why I'm recommending for you to watch that video, because there has been a true misunderstanding when it comes to Hebrew Israelites. Many Christians have the wrong interpretation of them. Remember, we are not all the same. Also, you will have access to videos to give you understanding of the Most High calendar. For his calendar is way different from Satan's calendar. Satan's calendar is the Gregorian calendar that is of the Roman Empire. When you read Daniel chapter 7, you should get a more understanding of that. And last not but least, Hebrew Israelites. The Most High spoke to one of his prophetess, and he is recommending for you to read the book of Job, because you are in this stage now, and he wants you to be ready and to be prepared. Once you read the book of Job, you will get a true understanding, Israelites, what you must do. There is a part 1 and part 2. Part 2 deal with hidden fears and Yahuwah's breath. And part 1 deal with how the book relates to the Israelite affliction and captivity. And my brothers and sisters, please remember Brother Alayasha and his family, for they are truly bearing their spiritual cross now. And excuse background noise. Please remember to pray for them and to keep their story alive. Now, as of the date of this word, I do need to make a correction because I did not update this note. But today's date is September the 9th, and it's on the heathen day known as Saturday. The phase of this day is night. Therefore, now on the Most High calendar, we are in the 6th month and 19th day now. And the date range of that date shall be from September the 9th to September the 10th. For the Most High day begins from sundown to sundown, for he is the Father of light. Now for the word. So after you saw that that picture I showed to you, you're probably wondering, how does it relates to Esther chapter 8 verse 17? Okay, because in Christianity there has been a great misunderstanding of the scriptures. They have forgotten that the scriptures was translated from the Hebrew sacred scrolls. Nor do they take the time to go back to look at the language and what those verses truly mean. Okay, for those who understand about languages, you are aware that when you translate from one language to another, it does not have the same force or has the same true meaning. Okay, this is something that Christians fail to see, and this is why they often misinterpret scriptures. Most importantly, when you read the word of the Most High, you have to have His Spirit, for His Spirit shall teach you all things. So, dealing with this word for today, what does becoming a Jew mean in Esther chapter 8 verse 17? Let's read that verse now. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them. Now, if I was in the Christian faith, I would take this verse as the Gentiles changing their nationality as becoming Jews. Okay, but you have to do more research, my brothers and sisters. Okay, you have to read the whole volume of the book, because once you read the whole volume of the book, you will learn that the Gentiles in that land during the time of Esther did not change their nationality. Something else happened. Okay, so to understand what does it mean to become a Jew, we have to go back to the Hebrew word for this text. So when I look up the word Jew for this text, it led me to Yadah H3054. And basically Yadah means to become Jewish or to Judaize. Okay, I want to say this again. The word Jew in Esther chapter 8 verse 17 means Yadah, which is to become Jewish or to Judaize. Okay, so here we have clarification that in this verse, the people did not change their nationality, but they changed their way of life. Okay, we'll talk more about this as we go further in this video. So when you go to your Strong Concordance, you will learn that Yadah H3054 corresponds to H3061, which means Yahud. And Yahud is an Aramaic word for Judea or Jewry or Judah territory. Okay, so Yadah corresponds to this word. Okay, when you dig deeper, you will learn that H3061 is a contraction from the word Yahuwah. Okay, Yahuwah is Hebrew for Judah, which is H3063. And we know what the word Yahuwah means. Either you are the tribe of Judah or you are a Judean. Okay, and the concordance give a more deeper insight what Yahuwah means, such as you are from the tribe descended from Judah, the son of Jacob, or the territory occupied by the tribe of Judah, or the kingdom comprised of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, which occupied the southern part of Canaan after the nation split upon the death of Solomon. Okay, now let me elaborate a little bit more on this. When you're dealing with the southern kingdom, which is Judah kingdom, in the beginning you had Judah and Benjamin. Okay, and the remnant of the northern kingdom. Later on, you had the Levites. This is something very important for you to know. You must read the book of the Kings and the book of Chronicles. Okay, so those group of people made up Judah's kingdom. You have the tribe of Judah, the tribe of Benjamin, the tribe of Levi, and a remnant of the northern kingdom. Okay, what else I want to say with this? So the word Yahuwah, okay, which is 83063, can means either you are a descendant from Judah, Jacob's son, or you are an Israelite that is a part of his kingdom. Okay, Judah's kingdom. All right. Also, this is what else I want to mention. When you look at the time of the Roman Empire, when they were ruling the world, when you look at the land in Israel, they had split it into 3 provinces. You have Galilee, Samaria, and Judea. Okay, so Judea was a big area that the kingdom of Judah controlled during that period of time. Okay, this FYI. So going back to Esther 8:17, we now learn that the word Jew in this passage means Yahad, and Yahad means to become Jewish. Okay, now we're going to look at another verse in the Bible to give us clarification. What do the other passage means when it has the word Jew in it? So now let us look at Esther chapter 2, verse 5 to 9. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Lair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity when he had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, from Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. Now, I also forgot to mention that the book of Esther I'm talking about is in the Old Testament. This is where I'm getting these verses from, and from the 1611 edition. All right. So here we have an example of how the word Jew is used in this passage, but we get a little more information. Okay. We learned that Mordecai is a descendant of Benjamin, of the tribe Benjamin. Therefore, he is a descendant of Israel, but he is a descendant of the tribe of Benjamin, but he is in the southern kingdom, because notice here he was carried away from Jerusalem, and Jerusalem is located in the province Judea. Okay, very important to know. So when we go in the Strong Concordance, when we look at this word Jew in Esther chapter 2 verse 5, we see that we have this word Yahuwdiy, H3064. Now there's other verses that has this same word too as well. In Esther chapter 3, 4, 5 and 13, 6 and 10, 8 and 7, 9, 23 and 31. Also in 10 and 3, and in Jeremiah chapter 34 verse 9, and Zechariah chapter 8 verse 24. Now, there's other verses that have this same word, far as when you're dealing with this Hebrew word. Now, when you translate this word, it means Jew or Jews. It can be used as singular or plural. And what it basically means is that a person is a descendant of the tribe of Judah, or they are or part of his kingdom. An Israelite that is a part of the southern kingdom. Okay, and then we read this part to you right here from the Strong Concordance. It said they are a Judite, such as a Jude or Jew, or descendant of Jehudah, such as Judah. Okay, so when I compare Esther chapter 2 verse 5 to 9 to Esther chapter 8 verse 17, is giving you 2 different words that are used for a Gentile becoming a Jew, and for a actual Israelite who is a Jew. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. Let's go to the conclusion. So here we can see that a blood descendant of Jacob, which is Israel. Okay, I did have something out of order here, and I apologize. Is that a blood descendant of Jacob, which is Israel, is called an Israelite / Jew / Judean. And the Hebrew word for them is Yahuwdiy H3064, which basically means what? A Jew. Now, for a Gentile who becomes a Jew, that person is called Yadah H3054, Jewish. Now you begin to understand why that poster said this. And let us go back to it. Why this poster said, I had to wait till it pulls up, I am not a full Jew. I am not a full-blooded Jew. I'm Jewish. Okay. Now you begin to see what this truly means. Let us go back. It's just going to take a while to pull up. Okay. So today, when a Gentile says he has become a Jew, he is called Jewish, and in Hebrew, he shall be called Yahad. When an Israelite say they are a Jew, they are called Yahuwdiy, okay? And they, in the English tongue, shall be called a Jew. Do you see the difference now? So Gentiles who convert become Jewish, and Israelites today are called Jews because they are blood descendants of Jacob, okay, known as Israel. Now, another thing I know what the Christians are going to do, they're going to pull out Romans chapter 2. Now, I've been stressing for my brothers and sisters to get a copy of that 1611. If you get the copy of the 1611, you have access to the precepts and to the summaries of the chapter. Therefore, it will eliminate a lot of confusion and eliminate from misinterpretation. For in the 1611, here is the summary of Romans chapter 2. They that sin, though they condemn it in others, cannot excuse themselves, and much less escape the judgment of Yah. Whether they be Jews or Gentiles, the Gentiles cannot escape, nor yet the Jews, whom their circumcision shall not profit if they keep not the law. So when they start reading past verse 25, a lot of Christians misinterpret those verses as pertaining to Gentiles, okay, changing their nationality to Jews. What this chapter is telling you that even if an Israelite / Jew is circumcised, even if they're circumcised in their flesh, their circumcision shall not profit them if they do not keep the law of Yah. Okay, so what I did for you, I went ahead and pulled out those verses. We're going to start from verse 24 and reach to the end of this chapter. Okay. For the name of Yah is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. Now, you see an asterisk mark by written is letting you know in the 1611, that's a precept. In your spare time, read Isaiah chapter 52, verse 5, and Ezekiel chapter 36, verse 20 and 23. Here, this verse is telling you that the Israelites / Jews blaspheme the Most High name among the Gentiles. Now, notice here, the Bible always makes a distinction between Israelites and Gentiles. Okay, it don't put the two groups together as one nationality. It will always make a distinction. Okay, so when you get some time, read the precept, then you'll understand what this verse means when it says the Israelites / Jews blaspheme the name of the Most High among the Gentiles. But let us keep going, because now we see a colon and it means something to follow, right? Verse 25. For the circumcision very profiteth if thou keep the law, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. So here we can see that that starting from verse 24 is addressing to the Israelites / Jews. Okay, so we can see that. So what this verse is saying to them, the Israelites who keep the circumcision of the flesh, they would gain or be profitable in the covenant if they keep the law along with their circumcision in the flesh. But if they be a breaker of the law, then their circumcision will become uncircumcision. Okay, let us keep going so we can get more understanding of this. Verse 26, therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? So what it's saying that when you keep the righteousness of the law, your uncircumcision become counted as circumcision. Again, when you understand these transition from the old covenant to the new covenant, you will see how the carnal and spiritual things go hand in hand, and you will also get an understanding how we are operating more in the spiritual in the new covenant. Okay, but again, this is being addressed to the Israelites. Okay, telling them about what is profitable by being circumcised. Okay, in other words, your circumcision would be in vain if you do not keep the law. Okay, and if you are uncircumcised and keep the righteousness of the law, therefore your uncircumcision shall be counted as you being circumcised. A spiritual mystery that many do not understand. But let us keep going. Verse 27. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision doest transgress the law? So what it's saying now, those who are circumcised in the flesh, which are Israelites / Jews, that do not keep the law, okay, what will happen? The uncircumcised ones will judge them because their circumcision has become, their uncircumcision has been converted into circumcision spiritually, okay, because they're not into carnal things. So let me read this verse again. And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, because that's how we are born, our males are born uncircumcised, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision doest transgress the law? So, in other words, our males are born uncircumcised naturally, right? But if the ones that's uncircumcised in their flesh fulfill the righteousness of the law, therefore they should judge those who are circumcised and they should judge those that are circumcised and that are into the old covenant, into carnal things, and also those that transgress the law. Okay, let me say this again so I can be clear. Our males are naturally born uncircumcised, but if they keep the righteousness of the law, they should judge those who are circumcised in the flesh and who transgress the law. Okay, let us go to verse 28. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. Now, to really understand this verse, it's another verse in the Bible, and I think it's in Romans 11. Because see, not all Israel is Israel. Many of them do not understand this new covenant now. We're not operating in carnal things. In other words, you cannot work out your own righteousness to get into the new kingdom. You have to be in the righteousness of Yah, another mission that many do not understand. But read Romans chapter 10 to see what is the righteousness of Yah. Okay? Okay, let me get back on track here. So not all Israel is Israel. So Israelites who are not obeying Yah and the Messiah, they are cutting themselves off from the nation. That's what it basically means. Okay. So in this verse in 28, for he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, not is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. So if he don't keep the law of Yah, or the righteousness of Yah based on the new covenant, he is no longer an Israelite. In other words, he's been cut off from the nation. Okay, but the one that keeps the righteousness of the law, okay, shows that he is an Israelite and shall not be cut off from the nation. Because when you study the word Yahudim, which is another word for Israelites, and dealing with the southern kingdom, you will learn Yahudim means worshipers of Yah. Okay, so if you calling yourself a worshiper of Yah, which are Israelites and / Jews, you should be what? Obeying the commandments of Yah. And when you look in the old covenant, when they did not do that, they were cut off from the nation. That was one of the judgments. But let us keep going. Verse 29. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Yah. So dealing with the Israelites, this is a message to them, because the problem with them is with the old covenant, they could not understand spiritual things. They was more focused with the task of the law. Okay. And the law was trying to teach them spiritual things, but they could not grasp it. That is another reason why the Messiah had to come. Now that a new covenant is made, a lot of them still reject this new covenant, okay, which is rejecting wisdom. They are trying to work out their own righteousness by keeping the tasks of the law. But when you read the whole volume of the book, you will learn that no one can do it now, especially in the land of our captivity. And since the temple is destroyed and the high priest is in the heavens now, we cannot do it. But once you receive the new covenant, okay, the spirit of the Messiah dwell in you, and under him, he will teach you how to keep the law now. Another mystery that many Israelites and Christians do not understand. For number one, Christians think the law is put away with. For Israelites, they think they can keep all the laws. Okay, here's what the word is telling you. When you receive the new covenant, which is the spirit of the Messiah dwelling in you, and he brings you the fullness of Yah. Okay, if you don't know what that fullness of Yah is, as videos on the channel, or you can seek Yah for yourself. But let us keep going. So the spirit of the Messiah brings you the fullness of Yah. When he dwells in you, he will begin to teach you all truths and how to keep the law. For in the new covenant, you are not under the law rulership, but you are under the Messiah rulership. Therefore, the Messiah becomes your judge, not the law. For in the law, there was no room for grace and mercy. Either you received the punishment, or you was cut off from the nation of Israel, or you was put to death. So there was not much room in there to be redeemed. But in the new covenant with the Messiah, by him being your judge now, you have grace and mercy. Okay. Also in the new covenant, you become holy, and by you becoming holy, the Father can accept you. And this is something that many do not understand. The new covenant is to abridge us until we can get into the new eternal kingdom. If you don't receive that new covenant, you shall be cut off from Yah. Yah is not playing. Okay, but let us keep going. So the link to Romans chapter 2 and the 1611 Bible shall be provided. But as you can see, as we just read these verses, when you read the summary, you begin to understand that message was being addressed to Israelites. Again, they was caught up in carnal things because they could not grasp the spiritual things that pertain to the new covenant. Okay? Which brings us to this. Gentiles. This is not about changing your nationality. For it does not change in the new covenant. And I know what verse you're going to throw at me, but let me finish reading this, because that's a mystery that the Christians didn't teach you about that verse. And that's in Romans chapter 10 and Galatians chapter 3. The New Testament still address Israelites as Israelites, Jews, Judeans. And the New Testament still address Gentiles as Gentiles. Notice how Paul make a distinction between Israelites and Gentiles in his letters, in his epistles. Okay? Let us keep going. Instead, you are becoming Jewish Gentiles, not a Jew/Judean/Israelite. Okay, I want to read this again because I want you to hear me. You are becoming Jewish, not a Jew/Judean/Israelite. For the new covenant is about redeeming what was lost by becoming like the second Adam. And we know the second Adam is Yahuwshua the Messiah. See, that's a deep spiritual mystery. So I know what verse you're going to throw me at. But we didn't want you to listen. There, in the body of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach, who is the Messiah, and the body is his bride. Okay? There is Israelites, or I'm going to say Jews and Gentiles, male and female, bond and free, uncircumcised and circumcised, Scythian and barbarian. The word said they are the same. Now, I know many Christians would say, okay, that means everybody Israelites. But what about male and female? What are they? So when you meditate on that, you will learn that that is not talking about everybody changing their nationality. It's going to something very deep. Because males don't become females and females don't become male. Okay? Here in that verse, it is to understand what that verse is talking about, you have to go back to the beginning, to the book of Genesis. Okay? And I want to read this part to you again, so I want you to start meditating on this. It says here, you are becoming Jewish, not a Jew/Judean/Israelite. For the new covenant is about redeeming what was lost by becoming like the second Adam. And we know the second Adam is Yahuwshua the Messiah. He has set the first example and we are to follow it. Okay. Now, to get more understanding what I'm saying here in this paragraph, we first need to read 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 4. And it says, and when the chief shepherd shall appear, you shall receive a crown of glory that fadeth not away. Now, to understand what was lost that now will be redeemed, and to understand this crown of glory that we shall attain when the Messiah return, and this crown of glory shall not fade away, you have to go back to the beginning of the book. Which brings us to these questions, okay? Why are we called Nazarene/Nazarites? And why was Paul the ringleader of the Nazarene sect? As written in Acts chapter 24, verse 3. When you go back in Torah and you understand what the Nazarite vows are, then you will understand the spiritual mystery with this new covenant. For it is written in Matthew chapter 2, verse 23, that the Messiah shall be called a Nazarene. Now, Yahuwshua HaMashiyach did drink wine and fellowship with harlots, publicans, and sinners, because he was sent out to the lost. Okay, he was to be a light unto them in this world of darkness. All right, so it's a deep spiritual mystery by being Nazarene and having a crown of glory that should not fade away. So this will bring us to going back to the beginning. Now, remember when I said that the Messiah is the second Adam and we shall follow his example because he was the first of his kind? Okay. Here's a big hint of what that means. Read Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. And the Most High said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Now you have to ask yourself after you meditate on this verse, because the Most High said his spirit shall not always strive with man, because he's flesh. So we know the story what happened with Adam and Eve. They transgressed, therefore they was clothed in flesh. Okay, so why was the first Adam? Okay, I'm jumping ahead. So when we go back to the beginning of the book and we look at creation of Adam, we begin to understand something special here. Okay, because remember, we are trying to attain what was lost, and the only thing we can attain it now is through the Messiah. He made the way, and he set the example. Okay, which brings us to this question, because I know you probably wonder about this mystery I'm getting to, so I want to get straight to the point. Why was the first Adam called the son of Yah? Okay, and proof of this, that Adam was called the son of Yah, you can find it in the genealogy in Luke chapter 3 verse 38. When you go back to the beginning, what did we learn about Adam? He is made up of body, soul, and spirit. Okay, we know the body came from the earth, the soul came from the breath of Yah, and the spirit is the heart of Yah that giveth man life, wisdom, and understanding. But this gift is of Yah. It's not of man. Totally different. Which is confirmed in 2nd Ezra chapter 16. I believe it's verse 51, but I know it's in 2nd Ezra chapter 16 and also in the book of Genesis. So the first Adam was made up of body, soul, and spirit. And that spirit was the heart of Yah. But as we read in Genesis chapter 6 verse 3, that mankind, which is Adam, shall lose it. Now do you see where I'm going with this? In the new covenant, when it says there's neither Jew or Greek, male or female, bond or free, Scythian or barbarian, circumcised or uncircumcised, when it's saying those things, what it's saying to you is bringing you back to the status that the Creator wanted you to be, Israelites and Gentiles. And that status is to the status of Adam, who is the son of Yah. Now, the second Adam is Yahuwshua HaMashiyach. He set the example. And if you read the gospel, I hope you pay very close attention, because he was made of what? Body, soul, and spirit too. So I want you to meditate on that, because I want to give you what that truly means towards the end of this video. But I have to read this verse to you. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 23. And the very Yah of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, Yah, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless unto the coming of our Master, Yahuwshua HaMashiyach. So even in the book of Thessalonians, this person was praying for your whole spirit, soul, and body. If you truly understand what regeneration is, that means being born again, then you will understand about the second Adam and the example that he set. And I'm going to give this to you now, so be ready. You want to write this down. When Yahuwshua HaMashiyach completed his task here in the earthly realm, after his crucifixion and resurrection, what happened to his body, Israelites and Gentiles? You can find it in the book of Luke. His earthly body was resurrected, and his soul and spirit, and they are in heaven. He set the example on what the bride will become. So in this new covenant, we receive two things, but we are waiting on the third. For the third can only happen when the Messiah come back. And you have to read Luke chapter 20 and the book of Genesis for that answer. Because when you go back to the beginning and you learn about the first Adam's status before the transgression, then you will understand why the Messiah had to come for Israelites and Gentiles. For the Messiah was trying to bring you back to the status of Adam. And Adam is the son of Yah. Therefore, You do not change your nationality, Gentiles. Don't change your nationality. But you become the sons and daughters of Yah. You become the children of light. For the Messiah is to bring you back to the status of Adam, body, soul, and spirit. But in that body, you shall be holy and have your crown. Let me go back to this verse. And have your crown of glory that fadeth not away. A mystery that many do not understand because they don't see these spiritual things. That is the gift to the bride of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach and to the 144,000. Okay? That is the gift. Now for the nation of Israel, they have a different inheritance because Yahuwah is their husband. Okay? And you have to read the prophets' books to understand what their inheritance is. But those who come in now to this new covenant, you shall receive greater things. This is why the Messiah told us in the gospel to seek the kingdom of heaven. That is the highest and greatest inheritance that any Israelite and Gentile can receive. And when you understand that spiritual mystery about that, then you would truly understand why the Messiah kept saying, seek the kingdom of heaven. All right. So I have said enough in this video. You will have access to the video link. Again, I stress you to watch the origins of Roman Christianity. Christianity is a Greek word because then you will have understanding why Israelites no longer call themselves Christians, but now we call ourselves something else because we are following the Lamb example. So let me close out with this. My people, we are Mashiach Nazarene, Messianic, spiritual Nazarenes / Nazarites in covenant with Yahuwah. Therefore, we become the children of Yahuwah, the children of light, as confirmed in John 9:5 and Matthew 5:13-16, and the children of Abraham and Sarah, who are the father and mother of the faithful, because the Messiah's spirit dwelt in us, as written in Acts chapter 24, verse 5, Matthew chapter 2, verse 23, Genesis chapter 17, Romans chapter 4 and chapter 8, and Galatians chapter 3, verse 4. We now, my brothers and sisters, follow the Lamb, Yahuwshua HaMashiyach, who is the Messiah of Yahuwah. We do not follow the Christ of the Christian / Roman Christianity, who are sun worshippers, for their Christ is of Satan, anointed with the powers of darkness. Read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and Revelation chapter 16 and chapter 17 and chapter 20. So now, Israelites and Gentiles, what we have learned today, when a Gentile is saying, I have become a Jew, what they are saying, they are Jewish. So the correct English word to use today, Gentile, you would say, I'm Jewish. And for the Israelite, they today would say, I'm a Jew. The difference is one is a blood descendant of Jacob, and one is living their life like an Israelite, but they still maintain their nationality. Okay? Such as an Ishmaelite would still be an Ishmaelite, and an Israelite would still be an Israelite. The only difference is they would be living a new life or changing their lifestyle in the way that the Messiah and that the Most High Yah order us to, such as keeping his laws, statutes, judgment, and commandments. Okay? So, again, let me say this again. I want to make it clear. Gentiles, you become Jewish. Israelites, today, they would say we are Jews. That's what it is. All right. If you do not understand anything I said in this video, please read Luke chapter 11, verse 9 to 13, and seek Yahuwah in all things. Do not seek out man for the answer. For The word said that if we ask in the name of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach, who is the Messiah, the Father shall hear us and answer our prayers as long as our heart is right with him. It's very important, and that we have faith. For we now are taught by the Messiah's Spirit, as written in 1 John chapter 2, verse 27, and John chapter 14 to John chapter 15. And the only way to receive the Messiah's Spirit now, you have to receive the new covenant, a mission that many do not understand. Read Romans chapter 10, Galatians chapter 4, and Romans chapter 8. Okay? Then we close out in prayer. In the name of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach, I plead the blood of the Lamb upon this video and upon the links attached. I pray that Yahuwah, I pray that the Israelites and Gentiles seek you for your truth and stop following behind the Roman Christianity doctrines and seek you. I pray that they understand that they can't get your wisdom and knowledge by the Gentile books or by their schools. I pray that they understand that this only comes by your spirit. They have to have the anointing from you to see these spiritual things, to see these spiritual mysteries. I also pray that you forgive us for our sins, for we have done so many terrible things to you and to your son, because we was blinded by that wicked one, which is Satan. I pray that people will repent before the Messiah return, because once he returns, things gonna be shaken up, and he will not play with them. For the first time he came into the world as a lamb, but this time he will come as a lion, and he will have a two-edged sword, and he's not playing. So Father, if anything I have not prayed in this prayer, I ask that you fulfill it according to your will. In the name of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach, so be it. So let us go back to the top of this video so you can get the proper Hebrew words. Gentiles, you will call yourself Yadah, and Israelites, you will call yourself Yahuwdiy. Okay? Yahuwdiy. All right? Or some would say Yahudim, one or the other. So take the screen down to pause it. Gentiles, you would call yourself Yadah, which means Jewish. Israelite/Jew, you would call yourself Yahuwdiy. Okay? And this concludes this video. What does becoming a Jew mean in Esther chapter 8, verse 17? And now I hope you have a true understanding what this poster was saying unto you. And if not, seek Yah. For this poster said, I'm not a full-blooded Jew. I'm Jewish. Continue to preach the gospel that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, for we are in the 7th day of Adam, which is the 12,000 year from creation. Make sure the people receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10, and baptize them in the name of Yahuwshua HaMashiyach. For the Lamb set the example, and the apostles continue it, as confirmed in the book of Acts. And where there is water, you can be baptized. Shalom, and that means peace be with you. And do you understand who is the peace? Do you understand that mystery? Think about it. Shalom.